for the loser. Now, describing the action for us on this one is Marty Morrissey.
Change is the order of the day in Clonus. The home side makes 5 changes to their starting 15. Ronan McNally comes in a corner back for the injured Colin Walsh. Dick Clerkin gets the call for the absent Owen Lennon, while Matthew McKenna, Dermot Malone and Stephen Goligly get their opportunity to shine in the attack. Ironically, Kieran McGeaney, the Kildare manager, also makes 5 changes to his original selection. Mark Scanlon and Hugh McGrillen come in at corner and fullback respectively, while 3 of the forwards are changed. Eamon Callaghan, Pádraig Fogarty and Ken Donnelly start this afternoon in St. Chernock's Park in Clonus. Kept in play, gathered by Owen Duffy. Here's Paul Finlay with his first touch. Coming through is David Hughes. It's a good effort. It's rewarded with a point and a white flag from the umpire. Monaghan Harps man David Hughes, left half back, getting his name on the score sheet. James Turley, Stephen Goligly coming forward, Matthew McKenna. That's a pretty good effort. Off the boot of Matthew McKenna. Good work by Monaghan, patient build-up. They retained possession, good layoff by Goligly. McKenna did rather well. A Monaghan team that's obviously intent on retaining possession. Ends up with Darren Hughes. Finlay on the turn. Great effort. And the umpire goes for the flag. You just cannot beat class. Once you've got it, you always have it. And Paul Finlay has it. Difficult angle, under pressure. Back to Hughes again. Has the composure to go all the way back. Ends up with David Hughes. Finlay to Clerkin. It's a great movement. Is it a great score? It certainly is. Clerkin shows that he's not just an ordinary midfielder. He's a player who can go forward and take his point from long range. Hugh McGrillen. Down far is Ronan Sweeney. Clerkin puts the hard work in. Tomas O'Connor. The support outside is in the shape and form of Eamon Callaghan. And that is over the bar. This is turning out to be quite an enjoyable match, with good scores from long range. Kildare able to build quite an amount of moves. Finish sometimes disappointing, but not on this occasion. Can Kildare come with a score before the break? Not a great ball inside, it must be.
Respond to Egg Callaghan. Halfway to fight against Shul Katisa. Rish Ruddy Bioga Shimpli nos na passna son a dollar mu ar Kildare. Agus Kimi Draint Dalan Sogs trying to mile agus an adog ag Shete ag Joe McQuillan ag Lahama. Ni doim gref moran ag Eshan ach Schlein son in ish. Ni leon ha necher lesha agus muid a dollar draw Lahama near a vein rian a necher gorev mi aina sound sich head la. So another Kadas as shot tresh tacht. Ach how loin Gigunoig Gacher chase and saw ha McQuillan a lower lesh and da more cool ha get. Agus ni McQuillan tresh faki in of and da earn a real low stach agus is Stoilm Gurbin hin is Stoilm Gulahom Neil I'd fossil anu into Raig agus ha Durham Catton son. It draw Brian Flanagan is Stoilm of Young Naka Gadirach K Yina ach Dan Joe McQuillan in Nakalish and Davina ha she initial Saul agus ha she Shaden Adoig is Kintigul Degen Fek Inishiga ach is failed to best your alta get das Dogo McGeaney agus McEnany in the him Rory Harkistach ho topic is Gerfedlo ach ha Joe McQuillan Mehe Saul in Ishan agus Fós the Lauren Nain against son. De me geen giele neger ka ready stach. Peshkele. I see the dul Megini and Ish Kimid and Sonna. Shell and Winter Raig, I see the Stig. I see the Dierig Dul Shakadi in the Shomri Fesh. It came to Kreen and Son, I see the Feynor Dawn. Agus Kimi Dinish Bader and so Jarlath Kunstmar a Hussigan Rutherford.
Jirach Jaran Yaham, and what did something now? Nach Wakam Cha, Nechra, Eri, a Harabi, Agus and Chin, the Jumaquil and Jirach and Arlash, already. Achidum said Gurbian Ruther Hardy and Agadagan Dinig in his chat, near a town Rutherford Hart, Agus Lianan She Array.
A yellow card for Pádraig O'Neill. He's now gone across to Desi Moan. Yellow card. Dick Clerkin is next. Yellow card. Brian Flanagan, Kildare right half back, becomes yellow card number 4. No, it doesn't. It's a red card. It's a straight red for Brian Flanagan. Well, this was the incident again that we saw. This was halfway through it. And there were several players, lots of players involved that got away scot-free. I'm pretty sure we're going to be in for an interesting second period. Mickey Conway, Pádraig Fogarty, back to Conway. Steadies the ship with a point. The first of the second half. And it's now 9 points to 7. Good score by Conway, his first from play. James Turley, Scottstown player, down for his own Duffy from Latin. Involved Darren Hughes, finishing it off his own Duffy in the move of the match. Brilliant football by Monaghan. Owen Duffy hitting it on the run. Nice diagonal ball over towards Kieran Hughes. McGrillen under pressure. Hughes on a roll. It's his first point in this match. No doubt about it, Kieran Hughes deserves that and a lot more. Tommy O'Neill. Owen O'Flaherty. James Kavanagh to his right. Flaherty decides to go it alone, and that's a great score. 4 points for Owen Flaherty. It's his first from play. Vinnie Corey. Flicking it far as Dick Clerkin. Nice ball inside to Owen Duffy. To Finlay. To yet another point. Kildare just don't seem to be capable of marking this man. Duffy, Finlay. Absolutely brilliant. Hughes again. There's a chance here from Monaghan if they pass it across. But the point was taken by Owen Duffy. Still a valuable score, but a little bit of vision could have meant this game was done and dusted. As Kildare try and work some way of breaking down this Monaghan defence. Owen O'Flaherty sends it in and puts it over the bar. The left half back has scored 5 points out of Kildare's total. It says its own tale. Kildare heading for their second defeat in a row. The referee blows the full-time whistle in St. Trinit's Park in Clonus, in a game that had many talking points. Lots of good football, some strange, some odd decisions, one man being sent off, but at the end of over 70 minutes, it's Monaghan that win 17 points to Kildare's 12.
Well, absolutely delighted. You know, we felt that we left it behind us in Meath last week. We created enough chances to win the game, but today was different. We started off on the front foot. You know, the scores went over from the start. The first 3 or 4 shots going over the bar always gives confidence, and I think we built on that from there. Being honest about it, I didn't really see what went on. I think it was an awful lot more pushing and shoving, and you know, there wasn't a dirty stroke in the first half or the second half, so it was sort of out of character with the whole game.
Yeah, well, much to talk about after that game in Clonus, but for Kildare fans, well, their poor start to the Division 2 campaign, the main talking point. Colin O'Rourke, we'll talk about the match in a moment, but of course we have to address those half-time incidents. This presents us with the usual problem in Gaelic games, which is, on the one hand, people would say, actually, look, it was a bit of pushing and shoving, and handbags would be mentioned. But of course, on the other hand, it makes all the wrong headlines for Gaelic games, and will do tomorrow.
Yes, and what Eamon McEnany said is true. It was out of keeping with the tone of the game, but it just looks awful, this sort of stuff going on in games. And it's the last thing the GA needs after Derry Tresk and Drummond Pierces. The image is awful of fellas pushing, shoving, grabbing each other, and there wasn't too many actual punches thrown in the whole lot. But unless the GA gets serious about having some deterrence, the only thing that works in the game is deterrent, and if players get involved in any of these incidents, then they get a hefty suspension. So players would soon know that if something happens between a couple of players, everybody else backs off and won't get involved, and then you wouldn't have this sort of thing. Now, Brian Flanagan is the only one that gets a red card out of it. What he does is harmless enough. He makes a swipe at Paul Finlay, and he gets the red card for it. But there was half a dozen other fellas sort of pushing, shoving, making half-hearted swipes at each other. But in terms of the image of the game, it's just a dreadful thing to happen straight after what we had down in Portlaoise.
Yeah. But Kevin McStay, they apply sanctions against players and sometimes clubs or teams in situations like that, and then they dilute them afterwards.
Well, they're clearly laid out sanctions for melees and joining melees and so on, and the sanction is severe if it's applied, but you're absolutely right. And the games in Croke Park, the club games today, are, you know, testament to people diluting the sanction. The zero tolerance, we never really reach it in terms of the sanction, and when we get halfway up, the hearing or the appeal dilutes it almost immediately. And the players know this. Yeah. That's the difference. All
right, Colin, let's actually talk about the match itself, because in fairness, Monaghan were well worth their win in this one.
Yeah, this was a good game, and Monaghan played very well, and they kicked very good scores from play, which was in contrast what they did last week against Meath, when they had 16 wides and dominated possession for a large part of the second half. And we had players like David Hughes, who left half back, and Matthew McKenna, new players on the Monaghan team, kicking great points. Normally we associate that with the likes of Paul Finlay, and he was at his best today. Again, a beautiful score over his right shoulder, but we've sort of come to expect that from him. And we also had Dick Clerkin, Owen Duffy, a lot of Monaghan players weighed in with good scores from play. And in a way, the game summed up, I suppose, what Kildare and Monaghan are about in general, because Kildare quarry out a huge amount of possession, work awful hard, but they don't have the ability to kick long-range scores, and they generally run up a lot of wides in every